teachers, administrators, school board members, and kids' lifetime. I pray that we do the best work we can for this district, that you give us wisdom and understanding, and that you guide our thoughts and minds, and help us make a decision that will glorify you in all that we do. We pray your blessings on everybody involved. It's good for kids, Father. We thank you for this great nation that allows us to do what we do. We thank you for your son, Jesus. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to tonight's board meeting. This is now a time that we have for public comments to the board. Again, you're limited to 5 minutes, and we can't take questions or respond to your comments, but we will definitely hear what you have to say. So the only one I have is Clay Trumbull.
Good evening, how are you all? Most of you all think you know me, but again, Clay Trumbull, and thank you for the time. Just had a couple of things. One thing I wanted to just kind of a shout out to our new band director, Tom McDonald. I think he's done a wonderful job. You know, I've been to a lot of football games this year, and it's great to see. I'll call it the old Wylie band. Some of us have been in the Wylie district for a while. He's done a really good job, and just want to say, hey, thank you for Mr. McDonald and everything he's done. Also want to appreciate all of Coach Martin's work football program. It's great to bring back the district championship, and hopefully we'll get another couple of wins and certainly make the trip over to Grapevine this Friday. The third item, the last thing is, I was hoping, I'm in banking, I'm in finance, and interest rates, as everybody probably know, is going to sort of go up. I know Mr. Hill is in banking also, and certainly I noticed on our most recent cash balance report, we had moved a little over $1 million into the Lone Star Fund, which is certainly paying a lot higher rate than I believe our 75 basis points or 0.75 that we're getting. I'm hoping we could move more money. If we could maybe average that balance to, we have $9 million. If we could possibly, average $5 over the rest of the year, we would have approximately almost $190,000 that would make an interest income. I know this last year's budget we only anticipated $20,000, and certainly that could maybe help us buy another school bus, other technology needs, or whatever. So just a thought, maybe for the board and for administration. Not a concern, but I think interest rates will probably continue to rise through at least the first half of the year, what most of the experts are saying. So, today, or at least as of we close of business Friday, that Lone Star Fund is at 3.76%, so even a little higher than the end of October. And I think we'll continue to go up. So just hopefully, look at that as a possibility of an investment tool, and really, what I'm not going to say was free money, but certainly money that would help the district in a lot of needs or a lot of ways that where we currently didn't have in the budget, and we could use for various things. So that's all I have this evening. Thank you. Oh, and also thanks for our new PA announcer. Mr. Wylie was going to get out
Okay. Previous minutes of the previous meeting, we'll go if you had a chance to look over them. Okay. Accept them as they are. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the consent agenda.
Let Carol go over this.
Well, there are a lot of pages because originally I listed every check written and so the football and volleyball and basketball officials and all the traveling that the sports do, that ends up fees and things like that ends up being quite high. We still use Amazon for quite a bit of our ordering. First page, $36,000. That was 180 invoices. So CTE, security, special ed supplies, technology, it just really goes all across the board for the school district. Page numbers on the side.
Pages on the side.
is, page 8, Frontline Technologies. That's a software manual for our substitute management program.
Sorry to go back on page 6, the high school cameras, the SINDA services,
Right?
all those done, I guess? Got all those in?
I don't think we're all done. Mr. Best, cameras at the high school, we still got some cameras we're putting in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close at the
Now,
high
that's-
school. We got
The ones that were facial recognition, do we have all those?
Yeah, those are up right now. So they're just really working on the software. So they did a test this week on Saturday, and they're coming back this weekend, and then we're gonna do on November 21st, we're gonna have a representative from the state. He's gonna watch it, look at it a little bit. So kind of still in the demo mode for them, kind of set up so that they can look at it.
But I would say, as far as district-wide,
District-wide.
cameras are an ongoing.
Ongoing deal.
Yeah.
That's just something that, we're always looking for, what we need to add.
What's the data drops for all campuses?
That's tends to be things like the cameras, or we're actually adding some for this building, and that's not showing up. With computer workstations, where we're moving.
They pull wire from the.
Yeah,
server.
pulling wire, the drops are pulling wire from the closet technology.
Like some of it I looked at was installing TVs.
Well,
wireless
we
TVs.
we did some access points, and I don't know which ones in particular those are, but every time we're working on our Wi-Fi, so the access points also have those drops as well, so.
That's what he does, is wireless. Too far ahead, but I was on page 9 of Lowe's. This area is under construction, is putting in that building, and so that we pay them for labor, and then we buy the supplies separately.
How's that building?
I think we are about, he thinks we'll be in soon, everybody. I don't know, Reagan, the last time you had a chance to stick your head in there.
I mean, it's to the point where the kids are out there working,
They're
using their
meeting.
skills, and they're meeting out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna pouring concrete in the classroom.
And when they brought those bills in, Carol asked the question,
Yeah, he was trying to get an air conditioner because of year-end model changes and things like that. We were having trouble
getting that,
getting it in, so I think he thought that was about all that was.
so they're really,
So we got to pour a little sidewall. We're kind of redirecting the water flow.
yeah.
It runs pretty hard off that hill, so that's probably the last thing I'm kind of.
You know, he's working, shooting some grades for that, and we're trying to get it away from that building. It's coming between two buildings, and then it's also coming off the side of the hill. And so there's a lot of water going through there right now.
And we're trying to connect it to that sidewalk that goes to the tennis court, so those kids can walk back and forth there too, so hopefully we'll get that before the next night.
Yeah.
Page 10 is
But one other thing before I leave that, because that actually, we had one pretty good rain, 2-inch rain or
Yeah.
something, and when we got that, it actually got a little bit into the ag shop.
Yeah.
'Cause it was,
And that water also comes off that hill and comes right beside that tennis court. They tried to pour a grade to take it away, but it stands. And every time the tennis ball goes in that water, it's not good on the tennis ball.
they don't like to play with
We can't use that, so they do a good job of getting it out there. We're trying to divert it. Save tennis balls.
The caliber tennis team.
That's right.
They don't want to build tennis balls.
I think it makes it tougher.
Our monthly payroll is over $3 million. coverage on page 13, it's 11,000, that's an annual increase, that's a one-time charge.
And that has gone up over the last couple of years. It used to be about $7,000. It has, the unemployment world has changed, so it continues to go up.
You can see the rest of the fuels, we still pay that, mostly on a weekly basis there, just for the charges there. Like I say, we could have combined some of these, water burner checks, but what kind of payments they come in, so that if you could do that, we charge a few for them. Page 14, Amplify, that's a reading program for two of the campuses that we're using. And we're still paying a lot of the annual software fees that just come up once a year. Towards the bottom of page 14, the City of Abilene, the resource officer, it's $57,000. That's half of the cost of salary and benefits for our security officer. Yeah, 15 days more for food service charges, for milk at the end is 14,000, for that, 126,000. We pay our OT and PT services, monthly, and that's 13,000. Page 16, use sports line, 23,000. And it's looking at the final payment.
That is a final payment, and they're talked to Coach Hathorn, and they're being trained on the remote. We've got everything installed now, getting some training on that.
Down order, $12,000, that is for 3 campuses for our libraries. Bottom of page 16, Taylor Electric, 80,000 was the electric bill for last year. So page 18, then we have the supplemental page 3. We pay an annual fee for excess charges on our copiers above the contract. That is $11,000 to benchmark.
That's a yearly reconciliation. It's all campuses.
And that's the bills.
Let me make a comment about halfway down the supplementals, you see another OTPT charge for Henry, but also right above that, you see a junior high athletic trainer fee, and just as a reminder, one of the things that Hendrick has provided to us has been the junior high athletic trainer. They're putting half of that bill. When they took over Action Sports, they bought Action Sports. That was something that we had in the works with them to try to have them supply to us that same arrangement. And Hendrick is going, they've continued that agreement with them. So that was an extra. I mean, it's about a $50,000 total cost for that person. We're paying half and they're paying half. So that has really been beneficial. I don't know that the junior high principal has necessarily heard the coaches talking about anything, but that's.
Yeah, it's great. It's great having her. She splits time between the East and the West. Really kind of every other day, and then kind of shared on Friday. My place 1 week, Aaron's place 1 week, but it's been.
And then rotates on game, like home games, just
Right.
like basketball Thursday nights.
But it's just good to have a person there that can take care of things when they need it. we've never had that, you know.
It's been good.
It's been really good. We're thankful.
And she's going to take on a ACU student, I think, in the spring.
Yeah, student teacher and observer, I think, which will be good as well.
Leverage that, I mean, that's great. So, that's wonderful. We don't have any questions on the bills, okay. Cash balance?
Next page is the cash balances. You see at the end of October and all the bank accounts, $9.4 million. Looking at that, you can see the Lone Star Investment Pool, that's where our tax dollars are going now. So that's over $1 million, just what we collected from September, October. The workers' comp fund, that's when we have the self-insurance fund, we have the final cash balance in that. So everything for workers' comp and excess will now come out of our local general fund dollars. Where before we had been setting aside $100,000, $90,000 a year. This will just come straight out of general fund without the set aside in the future.
On the Lone Star Investment Pool, is there any penalty for in and out, and can you put in one day, pull out the other? I mean, is it,
You can.
do they offer any kind of sweep accounts or anything like that where you can put in and then pulls out automatically when you need it?
Well, what we've done in the past
So we
is
can
just
earn
been
some
self-maintenance, so it's whatever we.
Yeah, we hadn't done the sweep account, but I will say this, they are really, I think, they give you 24-hour, I think you just have to do it days. And it's usually, you know, as you see, we've got the payroll, that's a big deal every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I just was curious if they.
They're-
offered-
they're easy, they're
where
pretty
you
easy
can
to
put in
work
and earn the length just overnight and pull it out, and it wouldn't really, usually pull it.
right, yeah, it would be beneficial.
Like I say, it's just been a matter of, you know, we knew we were kind of, our cash balances were going to be going down.
Yeah.
We've got one more month of getting state revenue, and then those cut off for several months. And so tax dollars are going to be coming in.
But we can check into the sweep
Just
option,
curious.
I don't, we haven't checked on that.
Did we talk about the settlement? What,
The
we gotten all that?
The settlement, yes, that was September, last 25th-ish, the settlement, and that was 1.2, I think it was 1.2. It was close to 1.2, maybe 1.3. I'll try it.
So that's the cash balances that we have. The next page is the expense report, ending October 31st. And just, you know, generally, line 34 tends to be up a little bit at the beginning of the year percentage-wise because of us purchasing our buses in September. Line 52 is a little bit high. We added some staffing and some of the security things that we're doing are kind of above, we're doing those up front now.
So basically, we've got 2 new school resource officers, not resource officers, excuse me, marshals this year that we didn't have. And then one of them was actually added after the school year started, so quite a bit on salaries in that.
Line 53 for data processing. Most of the software licensing fees and contracts are paid at the beginning of the school year.
And those are continuing to go up.
61 community services, we did add staffing after our budgeting process there.
With Andy, too, is who we got.
So those numbers are just a little bit higher compared to the previous year for those reasons. Next page has the revenue. So the tax dollars has started coming in. And I did want to mention, if we get it down to 158, 11, 12, that's the state funding. And like I said, we get 3 months worth of the foundation payments, and then they won't send any more until May. So in November, we'll get a payment, and then we won't get any foundation until May. So it's kind of, they do that based on tax collections too. So. Most of our athletic revenue, 5752, comes in the fall. So that number's what's it look like right now?
We, of course, I will say this is as of October 31st, so we've got some pretty good volumes that are August. That'll be interesting. Just to see, I haven't got a report yet on that.
The budget's in process, you know, we compare it to previous years and things like that, so different years will vary some. I did include investment reports, quarterly investment reports. I found that I had not provided you with the June 30 investment report, and we had $2 in the investment pool there. And so you have the June report as well as the September 30th report for our long-term investment pool.
And so the next time we have one will be significant. So,
I'll make a motion. So we can pay bills.
In favor?
Aye.
very good. Thank you.
We are going to move on to conducting a public hearing on the 2021-2022 first financial accountability rating system.
As you know, we are used to Carol bringing that in at a real high mark, and she did it again. So congratulations on that, Carol. I'm gonna let you kind of hit the highlights.
Anything above 90 is A, so we've got 96 out of 100, so that's good news. The one thing that we reached the maximum score on was
Number 8.
number 8. And that has to do with current assets, relationship to current liabilities, and short-term debt. And I think with some of the projects that we did with short-term financing is what brought that down from a 10 to a 6. So it's still, that was the only thing that didn't hit the maximum number.
And so, a couple of things as we took on some of these construction projects, East Intermediate in particular, our fund balance goes down, and then so that ratio changes. And as Carol noted, we did take on one other short-term event. That was the lighting project for the LED lighting, not the sports lighting. We paid cash for that. But that too lowers your fund balance, so that ratio gets a little bit out of whack. They like seeing it a little different. So anyway, nothing we didn't know was happening, so I think to no fault of Carol's, that's where we are. So.
There's also a page added in the first requirement showing reimbursements received by superintendent school board members, and so that's on page 27 and 28. It's pretty minimalistic. This is based on the 2021 data, and that was during COVID where we didn't track it hardly at all, and we did a lot of online trainings.
So very few, I think that was probably the school board conference. That is that report.
Good job, Ms. Carol.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much.
I don't, she's looking forward to not having to do these anymore. But it, oh yeah, so we can, there's any comment.
So does anyone have any comments? Moving on to considering adopting the National Incident Management System.
Mr. Bessett's got some information with
Okay,
regard to that.
the National Incident Management System is the standard for emergency operation procedures in the United States. And has been for some time. It's protocol, procedure, planning, etc. And since 2013, Wylie ISD, we've incorporated that in our emergency operation plan. We approve that every year. At this time, the reason that we're asking for board approval on that is if we were to ever have some kind of a disaster within our school district, whether it's an active attack, flooding, tornado, in order for us to get federal funding on one of those, we have to have that in board policy that we use that procedure, not just that we've accepted it, it's our emergency operation plan. So we're asking you to do that tonight at this time. It's more than anything else a formality. That's all. Not answer any questions.
Make a motion to adopt the National Incident Management System.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Principal reports.
Principals, who's gonna jump up there and, Lisa. Yeah, that way, we got some time. Oh, they're moving to the
Okay, for early childhood, we have 115 students. You'll see the breakdown there at the top. We are having two pre-scheduled, because as of this year, all of our drills are pre-scheduled. And so we are having those this week. So we tested our Crisis Go. We trained everybody on Crisis Go, and we tested it this morning. And I had a mock drill. I don't know if that really exists, mock drill. But anyway, we did that this morning, and the tone went out, and it went well. So we're going to have the real drills on Wednesday. We're going to have a shelter and a fire. We're going to have a Toys for Tots drive.
So that is a challenge with really young kids, because that's the first time a lot of them have been exposed to a drill like that, so.
Yes, so we asked the teachers to be sure and let them listen to the tone and that kind of thing, and they did that, and it went well. We didn't have anybody really getting too upset over hearing that, so, which is normally what would happen. The last week in November, and then for 2 weeks, we're starting our Toys for Tots drive. We're going to have the first week in December, we're going to have a book fair with our pre-K family night on Monday, December 5th, and our kindergarten family night, December 6th. And we're just going to have an open house along with it so that everybody can see what the students have been doing. And then we are going back up to November 18th, where our pre-K students are having their annual pre-K, our Thanksgiving feast in the classrooms. It is not on December 17th, as indicated here. That is in error. So it is November 18th. And then, of course, we're continuing with our book exchange for the parties for holidays. We are serving 63 students in the Backpack for Kids program, pre-K through 4. We are training the students on bus safety and stranger danger in PE music, and then with our pre-K. And then we're continuing our program with character counts, where if the students get caught exhibiting characteristics of a pillar, then they get their picture taken, we announce it over the speaker, and they get a little bracelet with the color of the pillar. And so we've done trustworthiness and respect, and now we're on responsibility for November. And they try real hard to get on that board.
So let me make one comment.
Yes.
Something that she didn't necessarily highlight, but up at the top, the 3-year-olds, that number has continued to climb. And you know, generally we have about 18 or so, 16 to 18 4-year-olds in the classroom, and we have one classroom with 21 3-year-olds, and it's getting pretty full in there. And we've got a lot of help. Now, there's 4 people that are assigned to that, so you can see that, but that's a lot of bodies in the room. So we're working on some things to try to help that situation. It's a real challenge. But I do think one of the things that he also points out is that the reason for that program was to help us with staff recruitment. And so we've seen a great need there. You know, Mr. Vaughn is continuing to work on the rest of that recruitment tool, which is the child care, the 0 through up to 3 piece of that. And anyway, Miss Sam is doing a great job with that. That doesn't come without some complications occasionally. You know, anytime you get that young of a kiddo in there are issues. But
So that's is that 3-year-old child care.
so we're that 3-year-olds. We're trying to structure it more as a pre-K. So there is a curriculum that goes with that, and they're trying to make that as much of a learning situation as they can. Of course, 3-year-olds, that's going to be fairly limited, but they're doing age-appropriate activities, and we went in there the other day, and they were very active and involved, as cute as can be.
I will say that, I'm not sure y'all know this, but there's been such positive feedback, at least from my standpoint, from the community with that. So that's awesome. I'm really pushing for that.
Yes, and they need to have a curriculum to be an actual pre-K class, just because we have 2 kids in here who can read.
Oh, gosh.
So, you really want to foster that challenging atmosphere, learning environment.
So just so y'all know, y'all have the commitment there is right at $100,000 just in staff that we've made that is new this year. So again, thank y'all for doing that. It looks really good.
Okay, for West Elementary, you see our numbers up there. Our second grade is completely full, and we'll just see how that goes. We'll be moving out maybe at a grade. Our fundraiser went really well, and we're hoping to enlarge our playground with those, about half of that money. And then some of the safety things we put in place was a keyless entry into the large gym, the library, and the hall reading, our office. And then we also have implemented the crisis go. We're also having as our subs come in, they are part of it also. They put the app on the phones. We had our book character dress up day on October 31st in the parade, and my Chihuahua Lugianne was the leader of the parade. And we were minions, and she had a minion outfit on, and she's really has a lot of confidence, so she went right down there. It was pretty cute. Anyway, we had a great day. That was the kids, of course. They would like to dress up every day. Then we had our Thanksgiving meal, and even though we had shredded chicken, 200 parents came, and we let them know ahead of time. Okay, we don't have turkey, we don't have ham, and if you want to cancel, we understand. But they didn't mind the chicken, and the chicken was actually pretty good.
So those parents were fed in addition to all the kids.
Yes.
You had, that's quite a challenge for the staff. Mr. Bessett was even down there.
Yeah, we were all Sunday.
We're glad the health inspector didn't come that day, Mr. Bessett.
Had a hairnet on.
He had hairnet.
Yes, he needed to hear that. But it was and Craig, it was nice he did come and help. We needed all the help we could get because we had the longest line. Then we had our Veterans Day program, and it was, of course, it's always good. It was very emotional and patriotic. It was a really good program. And we appreciate all the veterans that came in on the military families. Then we had a music program. We're going to have another one tomorrow
we have to really decide. Then we have a feast on the 17th and 18th, and then UIL will be in December for our second grade.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Alright, Wylie East Elementary. Our enrollment is 784. It's gone down a little bit since I submitted this to you guys. Academically, for our third grade, we did our 2 at-bat, which is our practice, interim, star, gathering some data, and that went really well. It was very smooth. Thankful that we had technology. Michael Dixon and Jonathan McKnight came over, Holly Cooper came over to make sure it was really smooth, and that went really, really well.
That really was a test too for the Wi-Fi, and the
Right.
amount of devices we were going to put on that system. And we did, that week, we did all of our campuses that were going to be having an internet. So, I mean, amazingly, everything went pretty smoothly. The only glitches we had were some learning curves with with how we proctor the tests. Is that
Well, that and just the format, the platform, interface, I think, and that was the whole point. You know, it's a practice, and so we were learning what it offers to students in terms of, what they can click on and how they can access different things. So it was, the teachers were learning and the students were learning at the same time. So it was really helpful. I'm glad the state had us do that. We also have been holding our multi-tier system of support. We used to call that RTI. We've been holding those meetings at the end of each 6 weeks, and so we're getting those kiddos who are struggling a little bit, those extra supports and helping them in that way. We've also recognized students with perfect attendance for the first 6 weeks. We did a drawing for a prize. We had a zoo crew come, and when we booked that, they gave us 2 free animals, and so we drew a boy and a girl to win those who had perfect attendance, and then we did a winner from each grade level, and they'll have pizza with the principal on Friday, so that'll be fun. Activity-wise, I was telling Mr. Goodnuts before I sat down, in elementary school, there's an activity happening every single day. So this is just a very short summary of what all we do. I know I didn't even put the storybook character dress-up day on here, but we did that as well. Our third grade kiddos in the GT program are coming in with lessons to go teach our functional academics kids. So that's a way they're doing some enrichment in their classes outside of the GT block program. And our book fair and our open house was on November 3rd. It was epic. We staggered the times, but there were so many people in that building. It was so fun. So many people participated. We had a line down the hall, Ewing down the hall again, in the library, just to make book fair purchases and go see the teachers and the classroom with the students have to do. So it was really fun. The teachers did a great job. We had our PTO Bulldog Success Night on October 25th. We didn't have a huge turnout. I think it's hard to find a night to do that. But it was good. It was good. The parents who came really appreciated the information that we presented to them. Kindergarten and our functional academics kiddos went on the zoo field trip on October 7th. We also had a fundraiser. It was very successful. Our parents were so amazing to help encourage their students to sell items, so that was really fun. Our second and third grade music programs were amazing. Mr. Trevino and Ms. McDonald are outstanding music teachers. I cannot say enough about what they get those kiddos to be able to do, and we had great turnout for parents coming to watch.
just to note, Ms. McDonald is connected to Kyle.
Yeah.
So
All the music.
yeah, they're musically inclined.
We also had Veterans Day breakfast on Friday, and we had over 100 veterans come, and so with their students, there was probably 300 people in that room, and with some of our staff as well who were honored. So it was really fun. We had a wall of honor with pictures and summaries of their service of different veterans. So it was really fun. Lots of participation. This week we also go to DIAS. Our first graders will go, and I went to the meeting today to kind of go over what they're going to do. And the people at DIAS have created an adventure for them. I mean, it's not just going to look at airplanes. I mean, it is so cool. I want to go. It's so fun. They're going to be on a mission, and they're going to go to an informational session. I guess that's not what you call it. Debriefing, I guess. And so they're super excited. Our second graders will go to ACU to watch Julie Goodness' team play on the next day after that. So that'll be really fun. We're excited to participate in that. Tomorrow we'll have our faculty Friendsgiving. We try to do something unifying for our staff every once in a while. The second graders will have a Thanksgiving feast, and then we'll also host Christmas parties coming up in each grade level. We will allow parents to come to the Christmas parties, so that'll be fun. We're also going to have staff Christmas bingo game that one of our teachers is working on, so that's going to be fun. Safety-wise, we've also done the Crisis Go training for all of our staff members. We've used it successfully for our last fire drill. It went really well. Our substitutes are using the QR code to get logged in each day so they can participate in those drills, and if we have an emergency, they'll be on board for that. Our John Murphy is our school operations officer, and he has checked our doors internally and externally every day, and he said he's never once this school year seen an issue, and nobody has, forgotten to make sure it's secure. So we're super proud of our staff for making the effort there. And we continue to have our monthly Safe and Support of Schools program team meetings where we discuss with each children that need to be on our radar that have some cancer. Any questions?
All right, guys.
Here we go.
How are y'all doing? Doing great, doing great. You can see our third grade is a little bit larger than our fourth grade. And like Miss Bessick said, I think about, was it your second? We're pretty tight. We're pretty tight in there right now, but we've got a game plan. If something happens, we're gaining another one, I know, on the 18th. So we're doing good. We're doing well. We're trying, we're going to do brisket Thursday to kind of help our teachers kind of go on a little bit there. Brisket and beans coming on Thursday. So we're trying to do something each month for our staff. A lot of good stuff. We talked about our curriculum meetings before. Our teachers are really excited about that. We're Miss Cooper's coming in and helping us out with that, and I really appreciate, that kind of ties us in with the East too, so it's really nice to have that. We mentioned our security upgrades, the Crisis Go. We haven't done our mock drill yet, but we are getting everybody set up. We've got a plan. We've got a plan for the drill plan for this month coming up. So Mr. Burns done a great job with that. It's very nice to have somebody else. I used to do that years ago before we had all our people. It's nice to have some help with some of these plans and stuff. So very nice. We had some early on Safety City. It's always fun. Nickel, fourth grade last week. The fourth grade went to the Nickel. We actually aren't doing all right after Thanksgiving, Mr. Light. So I didn't want to make you a liar that week. Okay. We're going to do ours.
I do that well
No,
myself.
no, sir. We do have, we've got some upgrades and stuff, so we're ready to go there. We're in the middle of a West Texas food drive, a Toys for Tot, and a Coach drive, and our people are unbelievable. Our families, we appreciate what they do. I'm going to give a little shout out to Linda Bacon at the high school. The high school kiddos are raising money for the Coach drive, and our counselor, I think, did a great job of finding some kiddos. Used to, we would have to go dig for the kiddos, and somebody would want to donate something. And it's more and more turning up. This baby, I think she cost like 36 coats today. And this sculptor went around and gave it to the kiddos, and they were super duper excited. And then we pulled out the 1,000 coats and things from the lost and found. One kid had 3 of his jackets that he found. Usually when mamas come and eat lunch, they go around and look at that stuff. So it's good. We're doing our character counts. We do something a little bit different. I think you had your ribbons. We do certificates, and so a teacher sends 2 kiddos from each homeroom. So I've got a bunch of kiddos. We take a nice picture. It's a lot of fun. They get their certificates. They're excited about coming down. So we just did that last, I think it was Monday, for the respect for the previous month, and now that we're working on responsibility right now, so that's always fun. Grace Museum, they're here this week. UIL contest, December 5th. We're going to do our class Christmas parties. This is one thing from COVID that we kind of kept. We used to have one time to have the class Christmas parties, and there was a lot of people at one time in that. So we're still having parents come in, but we're letting the teachers pick their time out of 3 days. So out of those last 3 days, we're letting the teachers tell their parents, their homeroom moms, and all that stuff. So it's going to kind of spread it out just a little bit. Mr. Moon can do 3 days instead of 1 big day. It's a good plan. Our Blossom Awards, and we're doing our accelerated instruction. Just our kiddos that struggle with the 3rd grade star. We're keeping up with that. That's a challenge. That's a challenge to get all those hours in. the start date has moved up for the reading. So when we first planned it, we had so many weeks we were doing this, and then, oh, here's another. State gives you stuff and you just smile and go. A couple of things I forgot about that these ladies mentioned. We did our Wall of Honor for Veterans Day. Also the backpack for kids, like I said earlier. We used to have 4 or 5 of those backpacks, and Mom brought them. Each week it's food. It's food that goes home to kiddos. And there's 2 carts for them. And so it's nice to have parents bring that stuff up. So I just want to say thank you very much. Any questions? I appreciate you.
Thank you. And there was one.
Thumbs up my book to make it through. Keep it short and sweet. That's why we have this paper. So again, we were kind of tied on enrollment, 4th and 5th grade at 180 even. So I don't know how we ended up with that. But again, last time since September we saw you last. I heard from the Wylie East Intermediate. We greater than I. We've had a lot of field trips. So today we went to Dice Air Force Base. So it was amazing. So man, I think we took over 400 kids. They actually had the East and the West together. And so once we got on the base, I mean, it was amazing. So I've got a lot of pictures on my that the teachers were sending me, so it was kind of a neat deal experience. Like I said, it's a mission. I mean, it was dogs, planes, bomb suits. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. So they've really done an awesome job. So kind of tying in that with, we had our Veterans Day. I don't know. I know a lot of people do, districts do things around the community with Veterans Day, but we decided to do kind of a drive-through. I know there's some breakfast things going on, and it was just kind of hard for maybe them to hit both of them. So we just kind of had a drive-through. We gave them some fresh popcorn, a flag, and then some handwritten notes from students telling them how much they appreciate their service. So pretty good deal. We had over 60 kind of just come through the drive-through. We had a dedicated lane. Had a gracious member of the community donate 12 flags, so we had 6 on each side. So if you can imagine those flags as you come up the straightaway, as you come up through Spirit Drive, it was very patriotic, and it was a neat deal to see, and just a lot of good feedback from it was cold that day, so we had the cold front push in, but it was really neat to see. They rolled down the windows and said thank you, and we got to tell them thank you for their service as well. So. Some different things that, a lot of East and West, really kind of a team deal. It's kind of a lot of the things that you hear them say we're doing as well. And just a couple of different things. Number 6, Bulldogs against bullying. We did have the ACU grad students come out. They got to speak to every one of our classes on the Bulldogs against bullying. So our plan is for them to come out 2 times in the fall and 2 times in the spring. So that was good for them to come out and to get that done. In regards to that. That's pretty much, getting ready. UIL every Tuesday. We're cranking up. Teams are kind of forming. Alternates are forming. So we're getting ready to go in regards to UIL academic. Thank you, Mr. Eminem, for hosting that at the Wylie West Junior High. And then one thing, Wylie Bulldog Education Foundation. I want to plug this in. Last year was awesome. It was the first year they did it, but it's at the Winter Light Fest, and we call it the Winter Light Fest Fun Run, but you don't have to run. You just really need to walk through that. There are some, it's that we kind of partner with United Way and the Abilene Runners Club. We had great weather last year. We're hoping for great weather this year, but we set that on December 5th. And so Wylie Education Foundation gets certain, half of those proceeds as well for that. But good family fun deal, bring the kids out. Bring groups, teams out, things like that. Really neat experience there to see all those lights and just kind of take your time. And it's pretty impressive. I went by the other day and it was all lit up. They were kind of testing it out. So it is a neat deal. So just on that other picture, you can kind of tell just some visuals there of what's kind of going on. Last but not least, kind of in a Bacon's Bits weekly newsletter, I've kind of started visiting with our staff about self-care. The first one was Remember Why. It's kind of a 12-step deal that we just kind of talk about each week. And last week was Remember Your Why you got into this business, because I think sometimes we end up losing focus, and it's always good just to remind yourself of what's going on. Last week was Reflect, just reflecting back on how we can get better. And then this week is going to be Redesigned. So you can look at those, but that's just one thing that's important, I think, for our teachers to understand. They take care of our kids and each other, and their families, but it's really important for them to take care of themselves as well. So we try to make that a point. So come out and see us on Wylie West Junior High. So thank you all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will say about the school trip, I think it was a smart decision Sending the fifth graders first. I can tell you right now, I don't think those are ever quite understood. I spent the day with them, and I don't think they were ready for it at first, but it ended up being really good. They had a great time. That's a pretty big undertaking. I know that's the biggest tour that DICE has ever done, just today.
Well, I don't know if our kids have ever had the opportunity to go do that. So.
Yeah, and it was just a C-130 side of the house, so there was a lot of, where are the dogs at? But they did a really good job. They did a really good job setting that up.
See that kid over there with the hammer?
Well, I had some teachers say that they were amazed with how y'all put that, how they organized and put that on. Thought it would be a little more chaotic than what it was.
They had to recruit some more airmen to come corral.
And I asked my teacher that was in contact with DICE, I was like, they sure they want 400 fifth graders on there?
So what was crazy, I'm sorry, I know we got to move on, but what's crazy is there's really two guys that put this entire thing. And I know I'm gonna make sure that they have some great appreciation from the district. I know you guys are gonna do something for them.
Yeah.
That'll mean a lot to them. So I'll be honest with you, it helps with career stuff. So thanks for coming.
Yes, sir. I think it helped our kids see a different career side as well. So.
That's awesome. Okay, long-term facilities plan.
Okay, so let me just say that the long-term facilities planning committee, we are still working. I had really thought originally at this meeting, we were gonna meet last Thursday. Of course, the football game was that night, so we didn't get to meet. But let me just make a few comments, and everything that I will share are just some thoughts of what I've seen, how this has progressed. By no stretch of the imagination are we ready to say the committee has a finished product, because we just aren't there. But this is what, from the last meeting, I took away, was that, number one, they would love, as a committee, they would love to see basically a timeline of when we think things will need to happen, when they will want them to happen. For example, some items that are really high on the list. High school space right now, we're already full, and so that's an obvious. We need space for kids right now. And so, with that said, I think where we landed was that we need space for about 500 to 600 kids, so we can do something that will have a fairly long-lasting impact, get us up to about the number 2,000 to 2,200 students in high school, and then prior to that, if that's the direction we want to go, then we can continue to grow. I took from that group that was about their threshold of size, that they felt like that was about where they would like to top out. Now, I'm not going to say that's a final, put a nail in it, but that's kind of what I would say. I'm going to lean on Desiree. She's in there too. So far, I think that's fairly accurate. That's going to be about a 30 classroom addition. Then there's other things that need to happen. We've got to do some work on the high school facility as far as offices. If we continue to go that large, we think if we got that large, we could possibly make our cafeteria space work. It'll be a challenge, and I'm looked at Reagan as well. She's a big part of the questioning in that committee group, because they're wanting her input as to what we need at the high school. The next thing that will happen is we will need some more space and probably add on to the East Intermediate. for the east side, we've done basically phase one set of classrooms, and the flip over would be phase two. So that would be the next item that we would be looking at, probably doing some upgrades on the west campuses to bring them a little up to speed. There's some older facilities. And then, again, we think that if we can do the high school, adding space for students, have that space at the East Intermediate, we can possibly make it out to 2030. We think that's about the time that number will become 2,000 to 2,200. We did not feel like there was a desire to do multiple bonds, but yet we, I would say, didn't have the stomach to do one huge bond that would include something 7 years out when you don't know what's going to happen to inflation. So I think that the committee as a whole knows we can't build any of these things without going the bond route. But, we're just at that point where we've been looking at this train coming down the tracks for a long time at the high school. And so we're getting to the point where we've got to do something at least to tide us to that next decision. And so there are several people in this room who've been at those. Clay's been at these meetings. You think, did I catch the gist of that, Reagan, Jackie? I mean, I think...
They really explored all the options.
Yeah, I mean,
They're starting to narrow in, I think.
Yeah, I will tell you, I think that the group as a whole has gone a lot of different directions of trying to get information. They've had a lot of good questions about where some needs are, what some dreams are, versus, what are the bare necessities, because I think those are some thoughts that we need to have as well,
I would like to see the dreams, though.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, if you're going to do it.
So looking at dreams, of course, and those will all be things that I don't know exactly when, but I think we'll come to the board with a recommendation from that committee. I would guess hopefully in December at some point.
So when will you plan on getting this up to the community? Because I feel like everybody kind of knows now this is happening.
Well, yeah, and actually Jackie's been talking to me about that and trying to get some information out through some maybe interesting surveys, informational surveys was a term used to try to share information and gauge the community's knowledge of some situations that are happening. And so Jackie's actually really been working hard to get me off the bubble, to get me to do these things, and she's working hard at me. So we're trying to get that information.
There is going to be a
Keep it up, Jackie.
Yeah, get off the bubble.
He was interviewed by the Girl. They're going to put out in December, but we've talked about maybe moving it to a digital earlier to kind of tie it back. Talk more about the community. Just letting everyone know what the community is.
So we have an opportunity, I guess, as a board, even to do like a board workshop or something to discuss these recommendations.
That's right.
Presented to us.
So, there's nothing that ties us to the historical. Historically, we met in February, but I would say, and of course the problem is December is just not a good month. There's nothing to fit in there. So, I think it'd be easy for us to move that February meeting up to January and have some of those discussions. As a matter of fact, hopefully, I don't know exactly how quickly this committee feels like they can say, hey, take this and let's bring it to the board.
Yeah, that's a good.
But I do think it's probably either 1 or 2 meetings away from getting to that point. Because then, with that recommendation, the board would need to say, okay, here's what they shared with us, here's what we as a board think where we should go with this. Because
With the
timelines.
recommendation, I feel like we should have a little bit more community feedback.
Sure.
That's what I would like to see.
Sure.
I want their major ones there. It's very important that we have a lot of community feedback. It's obviously huge.
And we're gonna ask for their support.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, so.
We're gonna ask for a bond, we're gonna make sure it's right. For everybody.
So they worked hard, a lot of good discussion, really have enjoyed listening to the thoughts and comments that they've had. So that's where we are. Yes, sir.
Okay, last thing, security update?
Mr. Agner's going to pass out a little handout. Move through this pretty quickly if you have any questions. We have 3 members of our board have seen some of this information. Miller and Cameron and Coach Keenum are on the Safety and Security Committee. That's actually, Cameron came on this fall, but we met in May and June and July. And then we met again in September. So this kind of comes from that. But I just thought there's a lot of safety things happening. We're fixing to start a session, this legislative session in January, so that's priority number 1 down there right now. That's all they're talking about. And so you're going to hear about it. But we've done a lot of things since then, so I thought it would be good just to bring you up to date. You see the first slide here. What the governor tasked all school districts in the state to do starting this summer. We started in June with reviewing our emergency operation plans. We had to submit those to the state. Make sure all our behavior threat assessment teams were trained. We scheduled our safety drills. And then we accessed all of our campus, we did our door audits, exterior door audits. And so we went through on an Excel spreadsheet. We looked at mullions, we looked at closures, lock sets on every exterior door in the district. And we filled out a report, we sent it into the state. Since that time, we are required to do a door sweep or another audit on every exterior door once a week. Where every door gets open, closed, to see if it closes, it locks correctly, and all that scrutinized every week. And we had to send those in. Also, as we start moving through there, you see some of the projects that we started. As you know, we started some fencing projects. I included some pictures of those. And just to kind of let you know, and we talked about this in some of our earlier board meetings and executive session, there was 2 kinds of fences that we put in basically. We had existing 5-foot fence on a campus. We didn't change that. That was with our West Intermediate and West Elementary. But when we added fencing, we went with 6-foot fencing. And we did it primarily at 2 main campuses to develop what we call a secure area. In the state, with the new safety requirements, all exterior doors have to remain locked at all times. And there's only 2 exemptions. I put that very last page here. That's a person's whose primary duty is to stand there and make sure no unauthorized people come through that door when it's open. So it can't be propped open except by a human whose primary duty is to watch that door. Or it has to be in a fenced, secure area. There's certain requirements on the fencing, whether it's decorative fencing like we have here at this campus, but it all has to be at least 6 foot tall, and it has to either have sliding, windscreen, or a non-scalable device on top, which is pretty intricate to that. And so why it has to be a secure area is we have 2 campuses, West Junior High and the high school, we have students to go back and forth to buildings, exterior buildings. We have portables, we have an ag shop at the high school, we have a new CTE building. And so for them to be able to go back and forth to that has to be in a secured area. It's kind of like that fencing is not brick and mortar, but that takes the place of a brick and mortar building that's around that. It just has to meet those requirements. And so we added those at 6 foot tall will be audited on that. Our playgrounds at our 5th grade, our elementaries are not secure areas. They're more secure than they were. It kind of keeps us in and out. At East Elementary, Karen Christian used her fundraising money, and she expanded her playground, that 6-foot fencing, and that keeps the soccer balls from crossing Maple Street every time they kick one too. And we're gonna have, like Ms. Bassett said, at her campus, they have some fundraisers, they're gonna expand those also. So we built fence, we did all that in-house, all that labor, so we've already, went through, paid for different methods, fundraising, 6317, which is the general funds, etc. So we've been working hard on that. We are actually doing some other fencing right now on the softball field, which is not 100% security stuff, but it's just work we had planned for a long time to do. And since we're in the fence building business right now, we're taking care of Ms. Collier on that too. So if you can see, we added right here some decorative fencing too, which is pretty expensive, but it looks nice and it protected our playground out there. Exterior door card reader project, we started in June, and I can tell you we worked really hard on that. So we have 54 exterior openings on the west side. The east side already has all those card readers on the exterior doors that we are going to have, that is in this project. The high school, we were able to include in the Angel Project Protect scheme of things. Because of the cameras and where they used our facility, we got them to be able to include some door closures on that. But 54 does West Elementary, West Intermediate, West Junior High. And those have been ordered. I will tell you this, we tried to match modern technology. So I learned a lot about card readers. And the ones we have on our Performing Arts Center, which is a pretty new facility, are already outdated in that they're remote, standalone readers. And nowadays, the new technology, you can get those card readers that work through Wi-Fi, just like our bait sensors. And so they can talk to the server without having to pull. We talked about pulling wire. Without having to pull in wire, you can use gateways. And so you can make those things function. You can find out who's using them. You can lock them automatically, etc. The problem is with that technology, there's a pretty good wait time on getting them in. So we're probably 3 or 4 months out on just getting them in. Most of those required some significant new hardware on our doors because our facilities are so dated. That when they installed panic bars, lock sets, and those doors, there were no card readers. They hadn't invented that technology. So for that to work together, we're having to replace a lot of that. So anyway, so you have to order that. It depends on the type of door you have, what kind of hardware it goes with. So it's taken a lot of planning. But we have all that done. We selected a contractor, etc. And so we have those in the works. We already have some of the equipment actually for the high school. That's a little bit faster job, but we did pull wire to those doors because we needed that for that angel protection system. So we're going to be up and running a lot faster than that. Anyway, so we're working on that. We've already installed some card readers on the insides that we had to have, especially like in our library, our office doors, etc. So we've done some of that already in-house. I have a little slide here on the duress system, that angel protection system. Like I said earlier, we're testing it. This is for the state. They're using our facility. Monday the 21st, the new chief of school safety is going to be here. He's coming in Abilene. We're going to meet. He wants to look at our Marshall program, and he wants to look at this system. He's just coming out here for that day to look at Wylie stuff. And so we're going to take him through that. And then will be the one that will present. He works with TBA, but he will present it in the legislature, if they're going to fund that project for all school districts, all 1,200 school districts in the state of Texas. Then, of course, Mr. Light's already mentioned our additional safety personnel that we've added has been a big help, especially, the things that we're doing right now. There's a lot going on in school safety daily, etc. So they're working hard, and our teachers are working hard, our principals are working hard. It's been, I think things are moving in the right direction. Intruder assessment audit, you've seen a little bit of that in the news. We have not had an unannounced visit yet. We should have one in December. All school districts will have at least been visited once by the end of the year. And so we think we'll be in December. We don't know if they're going alphabetical, but at some point they're going to come in, and this just kind of talks about what they're going to do. They'll check all of our exterior doors. It's not they're not going to dress up like an intruder. They're just, school people and personnel are going to come in and look at our visitor system, etc., and things that we have in place. And so, we work hard for that. this is something that, I mean, we have done in our own audits every year, so it's not anything new to us, and it's a good thing for us to look. And if we have vulnerabilities, as you know, that's a good place to see it. And then I put in there kind of the things, a little checklist, what they're going to look at when they come through, just so you know it's just not all that intrusive. Some other things I might mention, I put the last pages, those exemptions. We have received some grant money since we started meeting in June about this. We actually got some from our property and liability insurance company. I applied for a grant on some cameras, and we got $7,000 for that. We just were awarded what they call a SPAT grant, which is a secret alert system, which is our Crisis Go. That was awarded per student. We're on some kind of entitlement formula. We got $13,333, which was just about the cost of the installation of our Crisis Go in the first year licensing agreement. So it kind of was a wash there. And then last Thursday, Governor Abbott announced $400 million for the state of Texas for all school districts. He had talked about infusing some money in. Now, this is not legislative money. This really hadn't gone to the legislature, but this is money that they had in some funding. Part of it's going to go to the border wall, part of it's going to go, or at least try to get some into education to start with. And so it was kind of unique how they decided. I had already kind of been calculating. I knew $400 million was the amount, and I thought if there's 5.5 million students, 1,200 school districts, we were going to get about $400,000 is what I originally calculated. Well, that's not exactly what they did. They decided to break it down into the small schools in order to disadvantage them. They don't have a high student population, and so if you do it straight per diem on students, they suffered, and we know there's 700 school districts that have less than 3,000 students, so that was a big percentage. And so they guaranteed at least $200,000 for every school district in the state. And if you didn't qualify by your number up to $200,000 on your entitlement theory, you got $200,000. Everybody else got it per student. So we got about $296,000 is what they're estimating on this particular grant. We haven't received the form yet. So I mean, that's a healthy project, and it's good because we still have some other projects. We talked about West Side converting our lock system interior to a card reading system like we have on the east side. And so we started that a couple of weeks ago, inventorying our doors. So if you look at estimated costs, it's about $1,000 a door. I'd say that's today, that would be our cost. If no labor, we would do it in-house. Our school operations people will be door installers, door closure installers, and already working on that too. But that would be about 296 doors, classroom doors that we could convert over. So we know right now, I can tell you today, we have about 90 plus classroom doors at the high school, 84 or 5 at West Junior High, just classrooms, and about 35 at each one of the elementary. So if you add that up pretty quick, you're pretty close, about 280 doors. And we've already done some offices, we've done some libraries, and so there's some assorted doors. We would go maybe break down on an ad-hoc basis, and then maybe next year or on down the line, if we get another grant, we'll start looking at some of those like storage rooms, etc. Until we get out of the key business, like we talked about. Priorities would be classrooms, and then exterior offices. We already have our libraries are in that process. We've already started that project right there. And our gymnasiums, you never think about that, but we have classes in there. So to meet the safety standards, anytime that we have 4 walls and a roof and you're having a class in that, that had door structure. And we have gyms that didn't have any locks, panic bars or anything, just had a door. And then we also had doors that were so old that the lock mechanisms wouldn't work, the panic bars didn't work. They were built in the late 70s. And so we had to restructure those doors. We could replace them, add all new hardware before we could even think about that. So we worked hard on that too. So that's kind of an infrastructure deal you don't really think about, but they had panic bars that they don't even make, door closures don't even operate them. So anyway, we're learning a lot about doors right now too, so we have all that working for us. What else did I miss? That kind of gives us the talk about cameras, well, we got cameras too, and we got to keep them up and running, and we're pointing them in the right direction. And we have good surveillance right now. You can always improve on a lot of things, but we're trying to go with priority right now. So we know that classroom doors are a big one, exterior doors are a big thing, classroom doors, Abilene ISD's foundation right now, they have a lot of old hardware too, and that we're going to see the same, we're following the same stroke as we are right now. So I would some questions weekly. So, if you have any questions about it, I know this a lot. I'll be happy to anytime answer any questions with y'all. I think we're going to see some more things happen. I know today was the first day to start filing bills, and a lot of them were already out there. We already know because we've been answering lots of questions about safety report cards, and I think this auditing and this intruder assessment is not going to go away. That's going to be a yearly thing. Right now we're talking about even some more intense auditing where they come into your school district, like we call it deck visits, what we used to call them, we did them especially, and that's probably going to happen. There's a pretty good contingency that wanted every school district to be done every year. And so they actually submitted it to the group I'm the chairman of, and our budget is about $190 million a year to facilitate that. We couldn't even hire enough staff to do that, so we've got them down to about 25% of the school districts maybe. But that's where they come in and spend about a week. They look at all your paperwork, they interview your teachers, your community, and your substitute teachers, and find out really how safe you are and what you're doing in your school district. So that's pretty intense, and that's got quite a following right now. So that'll have to come out of the legislature if that happens. So they're making safety a pretty big priority. Accountability. Our Uvalde report, we did a report. I told you we were there 4 days after, so we just completed that. And this month we're presenting to the Uvalde School Board. And the Governor Abbott's going to have a copy of it. Initially, it'll be out too, so they'll file some information, public information out. So I have a feeling that'll probably change a few things. Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you all so much.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
Jennifer, you gonna stay in?
Yeah, well, can I run to the restroom first?
Yeah, Lisa will show you the way.